let's talk about what happens when we actually look at the dialogue in the classroom. So what I did, the blue here is the number of words that the Chinese teacher spoke during the lesson. So the numbers on the bottom is the time. It's a 42-minute lesson, right? So you can see that by the end of the lesson, the Chinese teacher has spoken almost 2,500 words. And the total students, if you count it up, they had almost spoken 1,000. So it's almost 2 to 1. It's a little more than 2.1.
So there
Yeah.
are 41 students in the class?
Oh, no. This is as the lesson progressed, time-wise, it's a 42-minute lesson.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can it just kind of shows, so right here the teacher's talking a lot and students aren't talking at all, right? And then here students are talking at about the same rate as the teacher. What do you think it is in the American lesson?
Teacher talking a lot.
Yes, because that's typically how Americans approach instruction. It's not that there's anything wrong with that, it's just that's our culture. The teacher is the dispenser of knowledge, typically in American classrooms. Now, we can't extrapolate this to all American teachers, right? This is just one American teacher. But this is typical. American teachers like to talk. And it's not, okay, so this says American students, but it's the American teachers' Chinese students. So they're Chinese students. It's not that they're not talkative. It's just the American teacher doesn't give the students an opportunity to talk about their ideas. We'll see that in the video clip. So if you go back to your notes, you'll see the very first point that I'm trying to make, something that we can learn by looking at another culture's discussion is, how we structure our lessons, I think we should think about that. And if we decide to talk most of the time, that's fine, but I think we should have a reason for why we do that. Okay, so this is just a ratio comparing the American to the Chinese teacher and the number of words spoken by the Chinese teachers, Chinese students, and the American teachers, Chinese students. This shows the ratio as the lessons progress. So you'll see that in the beginning of the Chinese lesson, when the teacher was introducing the first 3 tasks, she did a lot of talking. But as the lesson progressed, it pretty much followed a constant ratio. The green line represents a 1-to-1 ratio. For every word the teacher spoke, a student spoke a word. So by the end of the lesson, it was 2.5. So for every word a student spoke, the Chinese teacher was speaking 2.5 words. In the American lesson, it was pretty much the teacher dominating the discussion until at the very end, the teacher allowed a Chinese student to talk about the last task. And that's why the word count ratio fell at the very end. But I think this is very telling. I have not done this type of analysis on my lessons, but I bet it would look like this. I would be an American teacher, I'd talk a lot. I don't know, Rebecca, if you remember, but I bet I would. I bet I talked a lot. I like to talk. I'm a teacher, right?
That's what I say in the family.